Good evening, viewers. You are welcome to Orisunayo Radiotv here in Osogbo, Osun State, Nigeria, and I'm Kole Jade, your regular host on LC AFA. LC is an acronym of Heritage Life Support Initiative. It's an NGO situated here in Osogbo, Osun State, and today I have my guest. I think this is the first time we are having, the second time we are having a male guest. The first time we had Mr. Ebofin, and today we have another guest in the house. So we'll come back right after this break before I introduce my guest and everyone. Good evening, viewers, again, and you're welcome to LCFR. Before we went on break, I told you we have a guest in the house. His name is Pastor Ayo Kelano. Pastor Ayo Kelano, you are welcome to this program.
Thank you very much, audience and my uncle.
All right, sir. So before we go to our program for today, who is Pastor Ayo Kelano? Let's have a brief about you.
It makes me laugh. Pastor Yokelano is a man. He's a development worker. He's a missionary. He's a teacher. He's a husband. He's a father too. He's interested in people. And like I used to put on those days on my social media stuff, kill everybody and I'll die by myself. Because naturally I love people. And I like to see people smile. If they are not smiling, I have a problem. So when everybody is fulfilled, I think that is my fulfillment. Yes, I said I'm a teacher. Yes, I lecture missionaries in the Redeemed College of Missions. Not only that, I run a non-governmental organization called Claim Nation Foundation. I am also the coordinator for CSCSD in Osun. That is a SDG group in Osun. It's a network, it's a national network, and I can go ahead and keep telling you, it's a social worker, a lot.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, Pastor Ayo Kelano. SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And that's why we have our guest. He's the coordinator of SDGs in Osun State, Nigeria. And again, I welcome you to this program, sir.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for honoring us. What is SDG?
Yeah, when you look at talking about sustainable development goals, you will understand if you are following that generally the United Nations came to being after the World War II, and thinking about how do we help all these places that has been destroyed. How does the world see themselves as brothers and sisters? How do we have one voice? How do we help ourselves? And so, issues something very important. But we've been having various forms of development here and there, and that's why you see cases with IMF loan, this loan, the World Bank, and the other, until a particular point in time that the whole world is looking at, can't we have a goal that affects everybody together? And so they brought up what they call the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals, in 2000. The year 2000 birthed the development goals in the sense that they were able to just feel, how do we help everybody to develop almost at the same pace? We know there are some parts of the world we call developing nations, and we now feel there are some parts we call third world. At another time they feel third world, okay, even the second world. So they now say, okay, let's give them another name. Okay. Let's give them developing nations. So Nigeria falls into developing nations. Actually, we are nations that have refused to develop. You know, because there are several countries like ours, India, and the rest of them that got independence almost at the same time, that are far beyond, beyond Nigeria. So MDGs came up, and we started working. How many are there? There are just 8 of them. Started working. But you know how time flies. They know that it's going to elapse, that within a short time MDGs will be coming, the time, because the time for the MDGs is 2015. Yeah, 2015. And interestingly, like I said, Nigeria became a signatory, but Nigeria was not serious about it. Yeah, until the time issue of Yahoo came up, and they said, if you are not a part of the MDGs, so Nigeria good to know we are. We want to join. There was nothing so seriously we did out of the 8. Instead, aside partnership, we just partnered, and that's one of the things we could achieve in that time. Aside a few schools have been repainted, maybe built in handful of places all over Nigeria. So people really don't know what it's about.
What is it?
Yeah, people don't know what it's about, but it went away without we doing anything so seriously. But as time went on, you find out that the issue of people, the government felt we need to be a part of what the whole world is doing. We need to be a part of what the world is doing. So, in doing this, of course, Nigeria is a signatory to all of this. Nigeria signed it, and you see that Nigeria began to work. So the SDGs came up in that same 2015, as a successor of MDGs. And what is SDGs? Sustainable Development Goals. Now, these ones are 17 of them. There are 17, and that means more than what we had before. Actually,
we had 8.
8 before. Okay. Now, there were a lot of criticism about the MDGs, that, does the MDG has to do anything with developing nations? Something like that. And the people felt, no. The whole world must be inclusive. Because if you are talking about quality education, you don't want to talk about England. You don't want to talk about Europe. They have beautiful education. Where do we have problem with quality education? Africa, Nigeria. So issues of quality education has to come in. If you're talking about the issue of good health, they have health insurance that is stronger than our own. In the UK, for example, in the US, you still have to pay, but they have. And that's why people go for health tourism. So all of this came up. Poverty. Which kind of poverty do they have? When many of them have more than enough to throw away. You are talking about hunger. Hunger is far. It's not that there are no people that are also hungry in some of those places, but hunger is far from them. So all of this came up because they just feel the whole world has to be inclusive, and that's why you hear that word, let no one be left behind. That's one of the slogans of the SDGs. Sustainable development, no one be left behind. So you see us talking about the SDGs because the SDGs really all encompassing. Even though it's not exhaustive, this is not all the world could do. But even with the SDGs, how far have we gone with it in Nigeria? There's what we call kind of reporting that Nigeria does every year in New York, that how far have you gone? There is a kind of voluntary reporting we do. How far have we gone? And you find out that Nigeria has done, we're trying, we're better than when we were doing the MDGs. Yeah, Nigeria is better now. So that is the SDGs, or those are the SDGs in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So you said the SDG are development goals. It's an extension of the MDGs,
Yeah.
and we have 17 of the goals.
Yeah.
And when you were talking, you talked about like 3 or 4 goals. You talked about end poverty, you talked about quality education, you talked about good health and well-being. So I want us to talk about one out of it, and that is the goal 4, quality education. And you said something that is a bit striking. You said we're having issues with quality education, not only in Africa, or generally in Africa, and specifically let's come home to Nigeria. Now, as the coordinator, you are the coordinator of the SDGs in Osun State. What can you say about this? What are the activities, or what have you been doing towards achieving quality education in Osun State?
The power of education resides in the Ministry of Education. Ours as civil society organization is to prompt the government that look at this, look at this, look at this. There was a time we had to go to picking up schools in the 30 local governments of Osun State, schools that are deficient. You find schools that are sitting down anyway. A number of them are getting improved now, you know. So you find a lot of things. You find teachers, you know, will have one complaint or the other, which is okay. Now, but like I said at the beginning, the power for to change schools reside in the government. Now, there was a time we brought up a group called the E4J. We went to the Ministry of Education. We sent a material down there, inclusion of what could be done, so that, I mean, that E4J means education for justice.
Exactly.
Now, we brought various NGOs together. How can we support the government? How can we, you know, because the budget for the state, if you look at it, what is the percentage of the budget of the state when it comes to education? You know, so all of these are things that are very important to the child of the peasant man, of that farmer that does not have any other way to do. You know, we keep talking about tax. Interestingly, I belong to a tax NGO, I mean network of NGOs, that we want to encourage people to pay tax. But when we encourage people to pay tax, they want to ask us, what is the dividend of this democracy? Yeah, so what we're looking at is government as it is, the quality of education in Osun, it's improving than it used to be. I've been in Osun now for about 15 years or more, and I tell people, I said, the Osun we met then is not the same Osun now.
Okay.
Yeah, children are, there's improvement. Yes, but this is not the best Osun State could have.
I can still do better.
Exactly, the government can do better, and we will keep prompting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we are still on that quality SDG 4, quality education. I want to talk about SDGs and the teaching profession. On Wednesday now, October 5, is going to be World Teachers Day,
Yeah.
and I want us to say one or two things about it.
Okay. It's interesting to know that. You see, all of these things had to do also with the United Nations. Where did we get the Teachers' Day? You'll understand that in 1966, when you talk about when you talk about UNESCO, that is the arm of the United Nations, coming up to talk, the teacher is like a nobody. And they said, you can't just say these people are a nobody, because these people are great people. They are people churning out everybody. There's no profession you have in this world. If you don't have anything to do with a teacher, I don't know where you are. Whether you're a medical doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, a software, a teacher did something in your life. Even if you said you did self-study, somebody wrote that book. Yeah, and that person is a teacher. So you find out that even though this has been said, not until 1994 there was no synchronization of the status of a teacher. That is, looking at what ILO is doing. And let me tell you, because all of these things were done on the 5th of October, that was why the Teachers' Day was on the 5th of October every year. That let's use this day to always remember. Don't try to buy to our teacher fún wọn. Don't try to fún wọn pé teacher is also a person. Teaching is also a profession. I've been involved with youth work for several years, maybe more than 30 years or about 30 years. And I have hardly seen a student telling me I want to be a teacher. What they will tell me is they want to be any other thing.
You want to be a doctor.
Exactly.
A lawyer.
Yeah. I see very few of them telling me they want to be teachers because they don't see teachers being seen as anything. You know? So
but it has changed now.
It's changing. It has not changed. It's changing.
It's changing.
Yes, it's changing.
Okay.
It's changing. So, and that is why you see that the theme for this year, Teachers' Day, is teachers at the heart of education recovery. Teachers are the heart of education recovery. Why? Because look at what we're doing in Nigeria. We're doing now to the way people like Socrates or Parmenides or Pythagoras or the rest of them, the way they you know, the fathers of education, the way they brought it forth. You know, so we want to recover what education is, and that becomes very important. So when you look at that and quality education, or in relation to quality education, you see that this year's Teachers' Day is looking at a recovery of that quality education. And there is nothing much we can do other than for the government to understand that even the issue of security is tied to education. When young people understand what education is and they are actually enlightened, you will find less people getting bothered about what money they will get in kidnapping somebody else. So education goes a very long way. Exactly. Yeah, in affecting all of the SDGs. If you don't have education, we will remain in poverty. Look at Singapore. We need to learn a lot about that small country. Look at what it is today. Even look at this Dubai that everybody is running to now. You will find that education has done a lot there. Because, you know, because of the way it's really affecting them. They're talking about sustainable cities and communities. That is SDG 11 and the rest of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we want to go on break. Then we'll come back to continue with our discussion. Okay, welcome back. The last time when Pastor Okilano talked, he said a teacher is a major stakeholder in the educational sector. And so you can't push them away. Now, Pastor, what is the relationship between teachers and SDG?
When you talk about the teacher and the SDG, it's very much related. It's very, very related to the SDG. Because when you look at it, there is no part of the SDG that a teacher would not be involved. There is no part of the SDG. Because the truth remains that the SDG, look at quality education that we're looking at, SDG 4. Look at no poverty, SDG 1. Look at zero hunger, SDG 2. Look at good health and well-being, SDG 3. Quality education, SDG 4. Gender equality, SDG 5. Clean water and sanitation, SDG 6. 7, affordable and clean energy, that's SDG 7. Decent work and economic growth, SDG 8. Industry, innovation and infrastructure, SDG 9. Reduced inequalities, SDG 10. Sustainable cities and communities, SDG 11. Responsible consumption and production, SDG 12. Climate action, SDG 13. Life below water, SDG 14. Life on land, SDG 15. Peace, justice and strong institution, SDG 15. Partnership for the goals, SDG 17. When you look at all of these 17 SDGs, you will find out that it's related to the teacher. And the person that can best relate it to the pupils are the teachers. For instance, I'm a teacher. I teach missionaries. My students that write project, they write their project on the SDGs. When I get to the class, I will talk about the SDGs. Because I know when missionaries understand the SDGs, they go to the rural side, they go to the urban side, telling the people, telling their congregation about the SDGs. In fact, sometimes they have to talk to other people of other faith about the SDGs. But if they don't know what the SDGs is about, it's a problem. Was it about 2-3 years ago, we conducted a survey, a baseline survey in Osun State, on the SDGs. That what does our people know about the SDGs? We found out that they know next to nothing. Yeah, we went and we were not talking about people that went to school. We decided to go to the geologia. Àwọn ìyá tí ń tata, tí ń tẹ̀fọ́, àwọn bọ̀dá tí ṣe bọ̀dá weather, àwọn bọ̀dá fọ́gá. We found out that kí ni ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀? Gbọ́rí. And that's a challenge to the government of Osun State. There was a time, we've been trying to do things with the office of the special assistant. Yes. And I think he's trying to do his best anyway. But you see, the truth remains that the government has to, we have to work together. Because without we working together, the people at the grassroots cannot know what the SDG is about. We need to be able to work together. We need to be able to talk together. We need to be able to dialogue. So when you talk about the teacher, that was the relationship of the teacher and SDGs, it's a lot. Can I tell you, when you look at education, you have 3 elements that are very important. Elements of education that are very important in sustainable development. And what are those things? Environment, society, and economics. The economy, of any nation. All of these are things you will find out, you will see in education. Because if the environment is not conducive, how does the child learn? If the society is not peaceful, how does the child progress? How does it progress? If the economy is not smiling, how will he remain in class? Teacher getting power. So look at those days when teachers are paid out salary. How do they cope? These are issues. And may I also tell you that we've lost our teachers to several parts of the world. Why? Because there will always be brain drain when the people are not, the people are not being encouraged. So this go a long way to also say that the SDGs, the teachers, when they understand the SDG, for instance, teachers are able to teach the children. The children are able to pass it on through their education. They begin to relate whatever they are studying to the SDGs. Okay, I'm a medical doctor. How do I relate this to the SDGs? Oh, I'm a nurse. How do I relate this to the SDG? I'm even a teacher. How do I relate this to the SDG? I'm a surveyor. How do I relate this to the SDG? You'll find out that every part of the SDG is well expressed out, and that is where the challenge comes in. How is the government looking at the SDGs and curriculum building or curriculum inclusion? How do we include the SDGs into our curriculum? This is very important. I remember the times we were talking about menstrual hygiene. I appreciate the way the Ministry of Education took it, especially in Osun State. They were interested. They said, we have to include this in our curriculum. Maybe tomorrow morning we'll see. So all of these, we need to inculcate all of these. We need to put this in the curriculum. When we put this in the curriculum, the children will learn them. I want you to understand, in Nigeria, exam lagbo, in kontomo ba fish exam yoka. So that means if the SDGs are inclusive in the curriculum, and he or she knows that it's going to be examined based on that, will he not read? Will she not read? Yeah. So that is it. We need to add the SDGs to the curriculum. When we do this, you are going to see that we're going to have a better society. People will understand what is expected of them. Look at it now. The rain is falling. Okay. We have challenge of climate action. I want to suntaya sin suntaya. I want to dale soju agbara se dale soju agbara. How do we have what we say? And then we say there is flooding. There will be flooding. because we don't understand how to handle the environment. This is what the SDG is teaching, and that's the relationship between the SDG and the teachers. Thank you very
so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
So, with all this that you have said, can we have a kind of a training? Can the CSOs in Osun State organize a kind of a training for our teachers on SDGs? Can we do that?
Yes. You see, in fact, this is one of the desires of the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria. We have a program ongoing presently in which we're going to schools, churches where we have young people, mosque where we have young people, shrine where we have young people, and we are giving them a questionnaire on quality education. Are you happy with the state of your school? It's so funny. Some of the children are saying they need football field. That is telling you these children also understand that sport is part of quality education. So a lot of things. Some of them will say our class is not tiled. Our class is full of this, it's full of that. Those young children, 10 years upward. So this is a part of what we're doing. So we want to have that with teachers, and we will not mind collaborating with the state government to train teachers on the SDGs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ẹ kúrò lẹ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa, ọjọ́ wa ti lọ ṣùgbọ́n ní kúkúrú lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ a fẹ́ kí gbogbo wa ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà fún ọdún òmìnira. Òní ló pé 62 years Nàìjíríà gbòmìnira, so à ń kí gbogbo wa pé a kú àjọyọ̀. Gbogbo tá a ti sọ látàárọ̀ ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú SDG. Àlejò wa lónìí àwọn ní Pastor Ayọ̀kẹ́lánà tí wọ́n jẹ́ adarí SDG nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Pastor Ayọ̀kẹ́lánà lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí yín ẹ ṣé ẹ káàbọ̀. Mo kàn fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ bá wa torí pé àsìkò wa ti lọ, mo kàn fẹ́ kẹ́ ohun tí àjọ yín tó fẹ́ ṣe sí olùkọ́ni, sí àwọn olùkọ́ àti sí ètò ẹ̀kọ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun, nítorí pé òní yìí a fi ń ṣe àyájọ́ ọjọ́ àwọn olùkọ́ lágbàáyé yẹn World Teachers Day tá a máa ṣe níjọ́ Wednesday. Program wa lé ní a fi kí àwọn olùkọ́ pé wọ́n kú iṣẹ́ takuntakun, àríṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe, a sì gbàládùra pé yóò mọ̀ ṣe é ṣe fún wọn. Pastor Ayọ̀kẹ́lánà ní ṣókí ẹ bá wa sọ̀rọ̀.
Ẹ kú lé ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa. Ohun tá a ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí látàárọ̀ ni lórí ìdàgbàsókè. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá sọ sọ̀gbẹ́dìgboro ara ẹ̀ náà ni. Ohun kan tá a gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ ni wípé gbogbo wa ló wà fún, gbogbo mùtúmù wà oníkíní wà fún. A gbọ́dọ̀ mọ nǹkan tó jẹ́, ṣùgbọ́n a lè mọ bàbá kọ́ wa. Pẹ̀lú ohun tí atọ́kùn ètò yìí ti sọ pé kí la fẹ́ ṣe fún àwọn olùkọ́. Nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe fún àwọn olùkọ́ ni wípé a fẹ́ kọ́ wọn kí ni SDG yìí gan, báwo ló sì ṣe farapẹ́ iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ń ṣe. Ara nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe nìyẹn. Mo mọ̀ wípé láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà a máa fi ìwé ránṣẹ́ sí ìjọba lórí ẹ̀ pé báwo la ṣe lè jọ ṣiṣẹ́ pọ̀ láti jẹ́ kí àwọn olùkọ́ wa nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun pé báwo ni wọ́n ó ṣe mọ̀ nípa nǹkan tá à ń ṣe, báwo ni wọ́n ó ṣe darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, báwo ni wọ́n ó ṣe lè láṣẹ máa fi sínú ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tá à ń kó àwọn ọmọ kí àwọn náà sì lè mọ̀, torí báwọn ọmọ bá ti mọ̀ wọ́n gbé káàkiri àgbáyé ni, pàápàá kí wọ́n tó kúrò nílé á ti rí ipa ẹ̀ gan pé àwọn ọmọ yìí ti ń kọ́ nǹkan kan tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ìdàgbàsókè. Kì í ṣe ìjọba nìkan ní ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ìdàgbàsókè ni ló gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ lógún, gbogbo wa ni, nítorí wípé tí agbègbè tá a wà bíbí tá a wà ò bá ní ìdàgbàsókè àwa gan ò lè ní ìdàgbàsókè. Nítorí náà mo fẹ́ ká fi ojú sọ́nà títí di ìgbà tó jẹ́ wípé ìjọba lè sọ wípé a lè jọ ṣiṣẹ́ pọ̀, a wà kó àwọn tíṣà ní wà kó àwọn ọmọ. Ẹ ṣé o.
Ẹ ṣé, adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí àlejò wa Pastor Ayọ̀kẹ́lánà. Wọ́n ti bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ látàárọ̀ lórí ohun tá à ń pè ní SDGs àti ètò ẹ̀kọ́, SDG àti àwọn olùkọ́ wa, torí pé bá a ṣe sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan pé ètò yìí wà fún láti kí àwọn olùkọ́ wa káàkiri àgbáláyé pé wọ́n kú iṣẹ́ takuntakun fún World Teachers Day tá a máa ṣe ní ọjọ́ Wednesday. So ní ṣókí ohun tó ń sọ náà ni wípé kò sí nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe ju pé ká collaborate pẹ̀lú àwọn akẹgbẹ́ wa tá a jọ ní same vision and passion fún iṣẹ́ SDG àti teaching àti education generally àti ìjọba wa. Yóò mọ̀ ju yín ṣe o. Ẹ ṣé torí pé a pè yín ẹ jẹ́ wa. Mo fẹ́ fi àsìkò yìí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí fi kí gbogbo wa ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà pé a kú àṣeyẹ ọdún. Mo tún kí gbogbo àwọn olùkọ́ káàkiri gbogbo àgbáláyé pé Happy World Teachers Day. Mo ń fi àsìkò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ producer mi brother mi Túndé Ìwà pé ẹ ṣé a kú ọdún akú ọdún a sì tún kú oṣù tuntun. Nígbà tí a bá fi padà wá ní ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀, màá mú àlejò míì wá. Àwọn ni olùdarí Good This Day Nigeria. Wọ́n máa wá láti wá bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ àti àwọn ipa tán ti kó gẹ́gẹ́ bí adarí Good This Day nílẹ̀ nàwa Nàìjíríà. Nígbà tí a bá fi máa pàdé ní ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀, èmi ni tí ń tòótọ́ Kọ́lá Ejade mò ń dágbére pé ó dọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀. Ẹ ṣé.
If Orisunayo Event Hall. Hello.
HIF Orisunayo Event Hall gbọ̀ngàn gbàlódé ayé òde òní ó corporate ó standard conducive environment ló tún wà. Oh yes. gbọ̀ngàn táàyè ó ti gbà yín fún ohun tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ ṣe bó ṣe fún party seminar àbẹ́yìíkéyìí meeting tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ ṣe. now ààyè pọ̀ ṣáláàlú tẹ́ ẹ lè páàkì ọkọ̀ yín sí ààbò tó péye sì dájú lórí àwọn nǹkan ní yín lákàtà wa maximum security àwọn ẹ̀ṣọ́ aláàbò dúró déédéé lẹ́nu lóró tẹ́lẹ̀ ń ṣe patrol káàkiri náà gbà wá kò sáàyè fún mo gbọ́ mo yà àbáwọn tí ń da patiru láwọn event yín tẹ́ ẹ bá ṣe lọ́dọ̀ wa CCTV camera wà ní ṣẹpẹ́ tó monitor tó dẹ̀ ń record 247 ọgbà bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń wọlé sínú ọgbà HIF Event Hall ẹ ti ní access sí free internet browsing à ń ṣe rental and catering services video and photography event planning and decoration generator tún wà ní standby ojúlóore ó yá ní HIF Orisunayo Event Hall tó wà lẹ́yìn orí òkè pure water Ògoolúwa lágbègbè onward lóṣogbo nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ẹ connect wọn lórí àtẹ àṣekáyé www.hifevent.com.ng fún bookings ẹ pè wọ́n 08132953395 àbí 09055218439.